I'm Joe Day. That rendition of the national anthem by retired Colonel Joseph Long opened a gathering in Albuquerque on Saturday of military veterans, some with their spouses, families, partners. It was the second day of a two-day conference on post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, organized by the New Mexico Veterans Services Department. First, some facts. One estimate is that one-third of those soldiers who served in Iraq and/or Afghanistan are affected by PTSD or depression or traumatic brain injury. And there now are more military suicides than deaths due to combat, 38 military suicides in July alone. The New Mexico meeting was held to explore PTSD and ways to help veterans through so-called alternative treatments. Retired Air Force Colonel Tim Hale is the state's Veterans Services Secretary.
I did 28 years in the Air Force as a special operations pilot. Been out there, in many different places of the world over the course of almost 3 decades. PTSD, I want to emphasize that the part that most of the public keys on is the D. They consider it a disorder. What you have to think about mostly is post-traumatic stress. That is the key. Every warrior who's seen combat comes back with some kind of post-traumatic stress. Now, if we allow that stress to not be properly managed, if we let it to allow it to manifest itself in very negative ways, then eventually it will become post-traumatic stress disorder, the big D. And what we're trying to move in the veteran community towards is let's take care of the post-traumatic stress and not let it become post-traumatic stress disorder. Here in the state of New Mexico, about 10% of the population are veterans, which statistically compared to other states in the nation, that percentage of the population, that's very large. 0.5% of America has worn our uniform. So in the state of New Mexico, 10% of the people we see have worn the uniform of our nation.
My name is Wayne Chavez, Jr.
And you're from Taos?
Taos, New Mexico, yeah.
You were in Afghanistan and Iraq as well?
Yes, sir. Yes.
What happened there that made you want to come to this meeting?
I got wounded in Afghanistan in 2010, and ever since then I've suffered from severe PTSD. So a counselor in Taos gave me some information about it, and my wife thought it'd be good because it's been getting pretty bad lately.
Do you mind telling me in what way?
Oh, I just have nightmares and flashbacks. I was hunting a few weeks ago, and walking by myself through the forest, I just kind of freaked out and thought I was back over there. And so I was in infantry, so we were always on patrols. Every day we had patrols. It's not every day something would happen, but sometimes 3 times a week something bad would happen. So
lost some friends? Yeah,
I lost my best friend actually in Afghanistan. The day I got hurt, we lost him.
What happened?
We mortar attack. We were out on a patrol and just some stuff happened. I ended up in the hospital in Germany, and he ended up passing away. Yeah, so that stuff kind of haunts me still too. Like they were saying in there a while ago about not blaming yourself. What could I have done and stuff like that. So I always have that on my mind.
Adrian Apodaca?
Yes.
You are a veteran of the Iraq War.
Yes, I am.
Tell me a little bit about that experience and what it did to you.
The war experience was kind of twofold. It's something that we all signed up to do, and we go and we do it with pride and we do it with honor. And you're with men and women that are there to serve with you and to protect your life, and it's a bonding. But we go through bad things, and we go through situations that normal people don't understand or don't experience, and that tends to come back with us.
And it came back with you?
Yes. I always tell people that whether people admit it or not, nobody comes back from combat unscathed.
What is your name?
Anthony Garcia.
Anthony, you served in Iraq?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the American public, given the fact that so many
of them actually have no connection with either one of these wars. Do you think the people really understand some of the problems that the guys and women are facing?
I don't think they really understand. I think as a veteran myself, I try to let other people that's not a veteran understand what we go through. Some people just say, "Oh, it's a mental thing. We need to just get over it," or they don't understand what we went through overseas and in the sandbox, and it's heartbreaking because they don't realize that.
Veteran Services Secretary Tim Hale.
Do you think this is a priority with the American people? I mean, it's been reported that since so few, relatively speaking, Americans actually serve in the military, much less in combat situations, that people are not that interested in it, really. And do you see that as a problem?
I do see that as a problem, and I think that's one of the things that we all, as the veteran communities, are working so hard to keep that story out on the front page. I mean, it honestly breaks my heart when I see a New Mexico soldier is killed, and it comes out on page 4 or page 5 of the paper. That's a travesty.
What would be your words to those who might be listening regarding specifically the Iraq and Afghanistan veterans?
Embrace them. They have been through a lot of hell.
The specific focus of the meeting of veterans and caregivers was to explore ways of treating PTSD which employ healing through alternative therapies, such as massage, yoga, acupuncture, meditation, and Oriental medicine in general. Tomorrow, I'll report on the movement toward those kinds of treatments, including interviews with young veterans who are increasingly open to them. For KSFR News, this is Joe Day reporting.